Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk a little bit about Virginia agritourism today. I'm Livvy Preisser. I am the Agricultural and Natural Resources Extension Agent in Isle of Wight County in Southeast District. And today we're going to talk a little bit about agritourism, what the definition is, the importance it has on the Commonwealth, the impacts it has, some opportunities, and answer any questions that you may have in the future by contacting me. So what is agritourism? Agritourism is a combination of Virginia's top two industries, or top two of three industries, being agriculture and tourism when they're combined. This is the state definition. Agritourism is any activity carried out on a farm or ranch for recreational, entertainment, or educational purposes, whether or not the participant paid to participate in the activity. I also want to highlight here that agritourism has to be on a farm or ranch in Virginia. This is the state definition. I would encourage you all to look up any other agritourism definitions in Virginia. And also, some localities and cities have agritourism defined even further for their locality. So if you're interested in agritourism, please reach out to your locality and see what type of agritourism regulations or definitions that they may have that would affect your operation. This is a map of the Commonwealth. I'm a visual learner, so I wanted to share this, even though it's quite dated. It's from 2013. This shows the Virginia agritourism industry in 2013. As you can see, it touches all parts of the Commonwealth. And if there was one for this year or last year, you could see even more agritourism operations, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So you may be asking, what is agritourism? Well, in Virginia, agritourism can be many things on the farm. It could be bed and breakfast, it could be trail rides, it could be breweries and wineries, a lot of fall festivals, corn mazes, hay rides, you pick or cut your own, farm stores and markets, or weddings. The graphic to the right is from the 2017 Economic and Physical Impacts of Agritourism in Virginia. It's a great study, comprehensive study that I would encourage you all to look at if you were interested in agritourism. This breaks it down into specific regions and what type of economic activity they have in each region. So as you can see, agritourism is a part of all of the state and touches and has some type of economic impact throughout the Commonwealth. These are some agritourism attractions that I've worked with throughout the year, and I just kind of wanted to touch on them. I would encourage you to look in your locality, or maybe if you're traveling somewhere in Virginia, to look into that locality and see if there's any agritourism attractions there that you may want to visit. College Run Farms here, they are in Surrey. They do strawberries and pumpkins. They do lots of field trip and on-site education for youth. This is a winery in the middle in the valley. They did a farm to fork dinner. As you can see, it looks like a very lovely dinner with some beautiful whites. Graves Mountain Lodge, they're in Madison County, Virginia. They have a lodge on site, very rustic. They also have a farm, and then they also do lots of festivals throughout the year. They're probably most known for their Apple Festival and July 4th Bluegrass Festival. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Windhaven Farm in Isle of Wight County. You really drive up and you get the whole farm to fork experience because you see cows to the left. And then you go into this farm market right here that was converted from an old horse stable, where they have lots of their own meat products and other local products as well. P&A Homestead, they're in Southampton County. They're fairly new agritourism operation. They have a on-site bed and breakfast. And then they also have animals, and they travel around and do farmers markets and also do some blueberry picking on site as well. The last picture on the right is Jeter Farm in Botetourt County. They have a lot of fall festivals, and as you can see here are the pumpkins. And they do a lot of youth attractions through field trips and on their operation. So no matter where you are in the state, there is some type of agritourism attraction for you. So I encourage you to look into those when you're traveling around the state. So why do farmers get into agritourism? Well, a lot of farmers are looking to diversify because with farming, everything is seasonal. So they may want to add some additional income. They may want to market some farm products. You see a lot of dairies add creameries or ice cream to their products because they want to market their farm product. They also want to share a lifestyle. Agricultural and farmers love to share their lifestyle with folks, and we're seeing a lot of the public really want to be interested in where their food and fiber comes from. So they're really wanting to share that lifestyle with the public. Or they could be providing a service opportunity to the community. As you know, a lot of youth come out and do field trips through agritourism. So we are providing that education and opportunity for those young kids to come out, experience the farm, and learn where their food and fiber come from. On the other hand, why are folks going to agritourism operations? Well, it could be educational. They could be experiencing something new. They may just want to get outside. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a lot of folks wanting to get outside and enjoy the weather and enjoy, local attractions. They could be looking for something fun and entertaining to do. They could be passing by, going to visit friends or family in the area, and they just want something fun to do. They also could be looking for the availability of good food, fiber, and wine, or they could just be bonding with family and friends. It could be any of the above. So the impact we have on Virginia's Virginia's economic activity. From the 2017 study, we have a 2.2 billion in economic activity throughout the state. We support 22,000 jobs, 840 million in wages and salaries, and 135 million in state and local taxes. As you can see, agritourism is a huge sector in Virginia's economic activity. There is further details in the 2017 Economic and Physical Impact Study that I would encourage you all to look at, and that can be found online or through the Agritourism Extension portal. So again, over the past 22 years, we have seen agritourism boom over the past 22 years. In year 2000, we had about a little over 400 operations, and in the present day, we have over 1,400 operations. So we have nearly tripled in agritourism operations throughout the Commonwealth. Here's another graph from that study. It kind of breaks down those regions that we talked about earlier and talks about farm-based wineries, vineyards, breweries, and distilleries, and any other agritourism venues in that area. So you can find your area in here and look at what type of wineries or breweries you have and any other agritourism venues. I'm in the coastal Hampton Roads area. We have 19 farm-based wineries, vineyards, breweries, and distilleries, and 113 other agritourism venues. So again, I encourage you, if you're interested in agritourism, to look to see what you have in your locality, see if you could partner with them, or see if you're traveling, what's out there available for you to visit and enjoy. Here we touch a little bit about visitor spending. We talk about local visitors, non-local visitors, and then spending in the state, including on and off the farm. And this breaks it down into regions. Again, this goes in a lot more detail in the study. I just wanted to highlight this today. So with anything, there's some opportunities for you to keep in mind if you're looking into agritourism. Agritourism, we want to keep in mind liability insurance and of course, safety on the farm. This picture to the right is the agritourism liability statute. You will see this on every agritourism farm in Virginia, probably in several locations. It can say warning or attention. The requirement is it has to be in black lettering, at least 1 inch thick. We used to be able to purchase these through VDACs, but due to funding issues, we are now required to purchase them on our own. So you can take this wording and have it printed at your local print shop. Again, it's saying it can say warning or attention, and all of this underneath in black lettering 1 inch large. Oh, excuse me. And we do like to encourage folks to have it where it's high traffic area, whether that's the restroom, ticket areas, or parking areas. Wherever you see a lot of high foot traffic, that's where we want to put those. So why are visitors a safety concern with agritourism? Most of the public is 3 or more generations removed from the farm. So we may have some folks that are coming on our farms that are unfamiliar with agriculture. They could be looking for a babysitter and they may be easily distracted. So that could be a potential for a liability or an accident. We also have some of those folks that the rules don't apply to me. And as my husband likes to say, farm sense is dead because we have so many generations removed from the farm. So these are all reasons why visitors are a concern when we're thinking about agritourism. So signage is very important. Having trained employees or trained volunteers to know how to address those situations is very important if you're going to have any type of agritourism operation. And again, here's the Virginia liability statute, just in a larger print for you all. If you all need this, again, this verbiage or anything like that, please reach out to me and I can get it for you. Insurance is also very important when we're talking about agritourism. When you're thinking about agritourism, you probably want to reach out to your insurance agency and see if they cover agritourism. If not, you may have to look into some other options, but we always want to keep our insurance informed of what we're doing and have them know what we're doing. You really, really need insurance, and then walkthroughs. I can't stress walkthroughs enough. If you walk around your farm, you may see something, 10 times and not think anything of it. If you have a fresh set of eyes come on that farm, they may notice something like a hole or a fence that needs to be patched, or maybe that sign's not in the best location. So it's really important for somebody to come through and do a walkthrough with you. It could be your insurance agent. It could be your extension agent. It could be your tourism contact. It could be somebody from VDAX. It could be somebody from the community or church, just somebody with a fresh set of eyes that could come through and walk that farm with you. It's important to keep records. If you ever hear Scott Danoon talk about insurance and liability, he will stress records and records and records. Please keep them just in case of an accident. I will go into where you can find these walkthrough check sheets in just a second. Safety is also very important. We want to make sure that we're keeping not only our farm and farm employees safe as well as our livestock and crops, but also everybody that's coming on the farm. We want to make sure that they're safe. Making sure we do those walkthroughs ahead of time is very important. We also want to train any employees or volunteers that we have on site to make sure that they're well aware of how things should be run, how to maybe drive a tractor or a hay wagon, how to recognize a situation, how to address that situation. Something else I like to stress is when you're putting up signs, it's very important to have these signs and words and pictures, because you're having a lot of young kids come out to the farm, and some of those kids may not be able to read. So it's very important that you have pictures and words for those younger kids that may not be able to read just yet. And also, depending on your area, you might want to look into bilingual signs, just depending on your area. It's also important for you to consider your farm layout. If your front part of the farm is next to the road and you're trying to do agritourism and you put it in the back part of your farm where they're trekking through, your barns or, other areas trying to get back there, it's probably not the best location. Probably a front closer to the road is better. We also want to be able to get ambulances or fire onto that farm easily in case of an emergency. Just consider your farm layout, and you want to think of, okay, if we had to have an ambulance, can they easily get here? If we have to get a fire truck, are they easily able to get here? Think about your parking areas. Are they in an area, conducive to foot traffic? These are all things to consider when you're thinking about your agritourism operation as well. General farm safety is also very important. You want to make sure that your equipment is locked up, or that your keys are not in the tractor. Fire extinguishers are also very important to have on hand just in case of that fire. If you have any type of chemicals on your property, you want to make sure that they're in a locked storage facility, and maybe with a sign or whatnot, so we're not having folks walk into those chemical storage facilities. Livestock, a lot of folks have petting zoos or, farm animals available to see on their agritourism operation, and that's completely fine. We just want to make sure that we have signs, whether you want them to pet them or not. If they need to wash their hands after petting them, or if you have Germ-X available, just make sure your signage is available. If you have folks that you don't want to go in the barn, make sure that's locked or put off limits. If you have ponds or water, it's always important to maybe fence those off if you don't want folks going to those ponds or those water, just to avoid any type of accident. It's also important to have a first aid kit or multiple first aid kits depending on your operation. If you have some type of ticketing stand or maybe have one in the tractor or whatnot, it's also very important to keep them at high traffic foot areas as well. And then the emergency plan, which I'll touch on a little bit later, is something new from Extension. It's in one of our new publications. This is something good to keep on hand just for general farm safety. It applies to either agritourism operations or general farms. So that's just something to keep on hand, where you have all of your phone numbers and everything in one location. That way, if there was an accident, sometimes folks go into panic mode and they don't know how to dial 911 or don't know who to call. That just has everything in together in one location, just in case of an accident. So if you're thinking about getting started with agritourism, it's very important to start a business plan. We can help you in Extension, the Farm Credit of Virginia's, Colonial Farm Credit, Small Business Development Centers. They have all resources for starting a business plan, and we're glad to help you in any way we can. We want you to keep in mind that layout of the farm. That's important that we know that layout of the farm going into thinking about what are we going to plant, what are we going to do, how are we going to do parking, very important. Also, it's very important that you check your local zoning and planning to see what their agritourism definition is. Do you have to have certain permits? What are the requirements for the county or city that you're looking to do agritourism in? That is a very important phone call. You also want to check into your insurance, see if they cover agritourism operations, and if not, look into other agencies that will cover agritourism. Also, cannot stress those walkthroughs enough with anybody, your extension agent, your insurance agent, somebody from tourism or somebody from the community. It's also important to get ideas. So if you're interested in agritourism, check out other agritourism operations near you or throughout the state that you are thinking about doing, and get some ideas from them. Talk to them, see what worked for them, see what didn't work for them, and then bring those ideas back to your location. Partnerships. If you are in a locality that has lots of agritourism operations, see if you can partner with them and have, maybe some sort of trail, or go here and buy this product, come here, get 10% off or whatnot. Whatever works for you guys, see if that can work. Try it for a season and see if that works. Maybe expand in the next season. And of course, we want you to have fun. Everybody loves going to visit the farm and seeing where their food and fiber is grown. So we want you all to have fun and make it fun for everyone else, but also safe at the same time. So now I wanted to touch a little bit on agritourism in the pandemic. These are some pictures from my locality on how our agritourism operations have really adapted to the pandemic. Here in the top two pictures is one of our local strawberry and berry U-pick operations. So they took this pandemic and they just ran with it. They adapted to whatever the regulations were, and they did a phenomenal job. As you can see here, they broke up the picking section so folks could be socially distanced, but also have time to get out and get some fresh air. And on the right, you can see their PPE. They clearly explain how to use the bucket, what to do, how to bring it back, and how to pay, all by, hands-free payments, excuse me. And then they also worked with one of our local restaurants, which this beautiful strawberry milkshake is showing here. They worked in a partnership with our local barbecue restaurant. And so during the strawberry season, they provided them strawberries and they served fresh strawberry milkshakes. So that shows that partnership. It shows the adaptation through the pandemic. And also this bottom picture is Richland's Creamery. They said playground by reservation only, so they could sanitize in between or whatnot. So these agritourism folks, they really adapted to the pandemic. Over the past 2 years, we have seen PPE get expanded on our operations. As you can see, these folks have masks, curbside pickup. A lot of folks went to social media and they increased their social media presence. They increased their website presence and really adapted to ordering online or curbside pickup, or just completely just adapting to what was thrown at them. Some folks had offered field trips. They switched to virtual field trips so they could still reach those youth. And a lot of our larger agritourism operations had to switch to ticketing programs so they could focus on the regulations and keep those folks on their farm at the regulation amount that was for that time. Informational signage. We saw a lot more folks putting informational signage up on their farm, which is very, very helpful. And then we also saw a large local food interest. So like you and like me, when I went to the grocery store, a lot of the shelves were empty. So we saw a lot of folks reaching out to their local farmers and agritourism operations and wanting to support local and get their food local. So they were really trying to get out and not only do something outside in the fresh air with their kids and their families, but they were also trying to support those local farms. So again, these are some pictures from the pandemic from our local Browders, Fresh Pickings, and Smithfield. And this was what they posted on social media to let everybody know that they were doing their best to acclimate to the restrictions, which they did a phenomenal job with the bags and the strawberries and the hands-free payment options. And we also had some agritourism operations switch gears into their production facility. So Springfield Distillery in Halifax, Virginia, switched their operation to making hand sanitizer to meet the demand for the Commonwealth and for the nation, actually. So we had a lot of agritourism operations kind of migrate to doing some other things to meet the demand in this pandemic. So overall, some of our agritourism operations had a huge year. Our U-Picks, our meat markets, and our farm stand had an average or better sales over the past 2 years. They had a lot of increased exposure, because they were outside and folks were trying to support local. But again, they adapted to anything that was thrown at them through adding online ordering, pickup times, and drive-through. They assigned picking times or areas. And they did those partnerships with local businesses to help those operations. Unfortunately, some folks had a challenging year in agritourism. So our event-based operations like breweries, wineries, wedding venues, and festivals, they were hit very hard with the restrictions. Many of them temporary closed. They had some defaulted contracts, and then they also had diminished foot traffic, and they had to do a lot of event rescheduling or cancellation. We're still seeing some of the effects of that being still in COVID, but we're hoping in the next few months or upcoming year that some of these restrictions will change and we can have more of these event-based programs like opening the breweries, wineries, and having more wedding venues open. And then some of our agritourism operations just shut down. It was a personal choice. They didn't want to have to deal with the liability or the COVID-19 risk. And some folks still are without internet in rural areas in Virginia. And so they could not adapt to the online marketing, or they just didn't want to. So some of our operations closed and they're just put their operation on hold, and hopefully will be coming open in the next couple of years when all of this stuff hopefully calms down a little bit. So if you're interested in agritourism, or maybe you're a farm that's interested in diversifying and trying to look into ways and you're interested in agritourism, please contact me or your local extension agent and we will talk about agritourism. You can also visit our agritourism site through Virginia Cooperative Extension, and there are some resources on there. If you want to reach out to your local tourism department and see what kind of agritourism operations are in your area and visit those, please feel free to do that. Again, I'm here to help you in any way possible, and so is your local extension agent. And also the site, from all of the pictures and the walkthroughs and all of the safety aspects are from safeagritourism.org. This is something that you can look at. You can print these signs. You can take these signs. You can take them to your print shop and get them printed if you'd like, A lot of them are very colorful, they're bilingual, they're pictures and words, so they're very, very helpful for your agritourism operation. And this is the farm emergency plan that I was talking about. This is through the extension publication site. And if you need that, I can would be happy to share that with you as well. But it's very good to have on hand just in case of an emergency, whether you're an agritourism operation or you're just a farm operation, it's very good to have on hand. And with that, I want to close. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or call me or visit the extension site or publication site, and we will answer any questions you have. I also have a very strong state program team that helps me with agritourism throughout the state. So it's myself with Virginia Cooperative Extension. We partner with Virginia Department of Agriculture, Virginia Tourism, Virginia Downtown, Virginia Main Street. We also partner with Virginia Agribusiness Council, Virginia Fairs, Department of Economic Development, and Community Outreach. And we also have a lot of other partners that we work with throughout the state. So if we cannot answer your questions, we have folks that will be happily to answer your questions as well. So thank you for listening for today's agritourism talk, and I hope you have a great day or evening. Thank you all.